Hello everyone, and welcome to Alchemy Theater's Geneva Kent Center for the Arts. My name is Mike Murdoch. I am the artistic director of Alchemy Theater. I want to thank you for our being here for our third free workshop of the West Virginia Shakespeare Festival's Springfest. This is a great workshop. Bill Kincaid is with us. He is a theater instructor, director, actor who has worked extensively all over the place, especially in Chicago and New York, and he just came back from overseas, as a matter of fact. So we are very lucky to have him with us today. Again, these workshops are free because we get a major grant from the West Virginia Humanities Council, which we're very thankful for. And this kicks off the West Virginia Shakespeare Festival for the year of 2024. So, without further ado, please let me introduce Mr. Bill Kincaid.
Hello. So glad you're here. Today we're going to mainly talk about unrehearsed Shakespeare, which is a specific area that I'm very interested in. There's going to be a lot of participation, so please be ready for that, because the size of the group we have, everybody will get chances to participate many times during this if they want to. So, however, I do want to say also that everything that I talk about, none of it is intended to cancel out or take away anything that you already know about Shakespeare. It's intended to add to it. And if I say something that seems that it contradicts something that you already know or believe about Shakespeare, then let's talk about that too. I'm not shy about talking about anything, and if something that I say doesn't make sense, I'd rather, or you see a hole in it, you think, I would far rather you bring that up so we can talk about what that is, because I've been doing this for quite a while and I know where all the potential holes are, and I'm happy to talk about all of them. There are people who would claim that we do this way because this is the way that Shakespeare's theater company actually worked, doing the same techniques that we do now today with unrehearsed Shakespeare. That's unimportant to me. I don't care. So I won't have an argument about that. I'm not going to die on that hill, because that doesn't really matter to me. What I do know and what I can tell you is that with this, basically we're going to go over some of the basic information about how you do this, and that with this information it's possible to take a group of actors who have done no rehearsing except for maybe fights or dances, places where people could get hurt if they don't rehearse. Put those people up on stage together and have them do an entire production of Shakespeare without rehearsal, without having read the play beforehand. They can study their own lines, they just don't know the whole plot of the play. So I know that it's possible to do that. I know that it's fun to do that. So whether or not Shakespeare was doing it the same way, I don't think is actually a very important question. So yeah, very much whenever you have a question or a thought about something, feel free to share it. Happy to talk about all those things, but I'm going to try as much as possible not to make this lecture oriented, but to make it all directly in response to things that you have done. So, and one more thing I do want to ask. So we have a variety of different people here, and I want to ask before we start, to what degree might we be a couple times a little bit naughty? Like PG related humor? I'm looking, I don't think she cares. I'm not looking at her. What kind of thoughts?
I'm good. We're generally PG.
Okay. You're PG happy? PG adjacent? Yeah. Okay, good. Helpful for me to know. All right, good. So the first thing I'm going to need is somebody, there's going to be a lot of coming up and reading. And it is Shakespeare, so some of it you will trip over. But believe me, I'm going to stop you so much you will hardly notice that you have tripped over anything. I'm not stopping you because you're doing it wrong. I'm stopping you because it helps to prove a point that I'm trying to demonstrate. So who will come up and read some of this?
Me?
Yeah, good. Jump right in.
Okay.
Sure.
I really didn't
Right,
want to
there
go
you go.
first.
It's okay. Okay, So you're not going to know what's coming next in this, but that's okay, because it's sort of like in production, in a performance of this, where the people who are acting with each other don't know what the other person is going to say. This time, not only do you not know what the other person is going to say, you don't know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And that's okay, don't worry about it. Because I'm going to stop you a lot, I promise, because it's all about demonstrating points that have to do with unrehearsed Shakespeare. Ready to start? Sure you are. Go ahead.
Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father.
Okay, that's the first place where we're going to stop, because it's actually...
I thought it was great.
Yep. So far, so good. All right, so shoe. Oh, what's the word before shoe?
This?
This. And what do we know about the word this? And we don't think about it very often because we're all, I think here is English everybody's first language.
Yes, but I'm Spanish.
Aha, well, so you think about it more than a lot of us do. The word this, how does it function? What do you know specifically about the word this?
It's a demonstrative act.
It's not that.
It's not that. What's the difference between this and that?
Proximity.
Proximity, right? How close you are to the thing. Are you closer to the thing when you call it this or when you call it that? This, yes. So for unrehearsed Shakespeare, we always, always assume that if you call something this, you are touching it. However, it's not enough to touch it with your foot.
Okay.
You're touching it with what Shakespeare calls in Hamlet your pickers and stealers. Yeah? So whenever you call something this, whether it's an object or a person, you touch it. So for example, let's say that I'm over here in our unrehearsed Shakespeare performance. You are there, and suddenly I'm going to say this person. If you're a male character, I'd say this man. If you're a female character, this woman, right? But let's say I say this woman, right? I can't do it from here. I've been told by the script that I have to touch the other actor. So on that line, I have to say this woman, right? However, same token, if I'm right here and we're having a conversation and my next line says that woman, what do I need to do? Cross away. That woman there, yes? And there goes with that in the same way that here goes with this. This woman, or for some of our, slightly less literate neighbors, this here woman and that there woman, right? But this woman here and that woman there, yes? So, with the shoe, this, several different ways you can make that happen. I don't care which way you do it.
Okay.
Let's go again.
Okay. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. Nay, that cannot be so neither. Yes,
Okay,
it is so.
now, do you think that before I ask that question, generally speaking also, what you're doing makes complete sense, and I forgot to mention this. Usually, you keep doing the thing until something else tells you to stop. So for example, you don't say this shoe, you say this shoe, right? And you stay there until you say, no, this, actually you would have started here, right?
Yeah.
This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father, right? So that action is continuous. And just by watching the actor do this, do you think the scene is a comic scene or a tragic scene? Comic scene. And you know that because Shakespeare has made it very clear to you by making the person on stage do something ridiculous. Yes? There's more than one way to do it. It would have been possible for you to do this instead, right? But you still, anytime you touch your shoe, it's even possible to take the shoe off and hold it. Any of those things automatically seem funny because they're unexpected, absurd behavior. Mm-hmm. Start wherever you want, doesn't matter. I mean, don't start at the bottom, but.
Okay. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. It hath the worser soul.
Okay, what's that mean?
The shoe is worse.
Yeah, but what's the last word you said?
Soul, like the bottom is worn out.
Good. So the sole of your shoe is worn out, but real quick, ready? I'm gonna quiz you. Don't think, just do. Spell soul, go.
S-O-L.
Did anybody say S-O-U-L?
I was going to.
Yeah, I thought it was, yes. But it's both, right? You can spell soul both ways. We're very 21st century in our thinking. This is one soul, this is another soul. But the Elizabethans probably were less that way, yeah? They heard the word and they heard both meanings of it at once because a lot of them couldn't write, and if they could write, they probably didn't spell consistently. So they hear both things at once. So you know why does having a bad soul make the shoe your mother? Why does having it
Because
being
she had
worn
a
out?
worse real
Soul, right? She had the worser soul. So that's a joke. Take us along, make sure we know it's a joke. Yes?
Okay.
Whatever way you want, just so long as it happens. By the way, that's the other thing. There are a lot of very specific things, like for example, you have to touch this person if you call the person this person, yes? That's a rule. But how you do it is not a rule. So in other words, if I'm going to call you what I've done before, cross to you on this, that's one possible way. But another way would be for me to say, so, as for this woman, right? It doesn't matter how we get close together, it matters that we get close together. Same thing with this. How you make the joke work is up to you.
This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. Nay, that cannot be so neither. Yes, it is so. It is so. It hath the worser soul. This shoe.
Did we get the joke? Bring it to us somehow. Just the soul part.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm asking for?
Yeah, but I'm not sure how to do it.
That's fair, yeah. I'll tell you one thing that I see a lot of, like for example, if I watch a stand-up comedian or a late night host or somebody like that, if people don't get their joke at first, they kind of lean into it by refusing to go on or
Okay.
something that reminds people, well, now think about that for a moment, yeah?
Okay.
That might help.
This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. Nay, that cannot be so neither. Yes, it is so. It is so. It hath the worser soul. This shoe with the hole in it is my mother. and-
Okay, now here's one of the PG parts. Because, so the shoe, we won't go very far down this road because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but, so, how do you know that shoe's female again?
It has a hole in it.
That's exactly right. Okay, go ahead.
And this my father. A vengeance on it. There it is.
Okay, now, that's so interesting because now we've gotten to another special word. We've talked about this, and now we have there. A vengeance on it, which is like, damn the thing. There it is. Somehow or other, you've got to create distance from it. Like when I say that woman there, yes? So create distance from the shoe. The
Okay.
one thing you can't do is say there it is, right? It's going to be some kind of there. Probably the largest choice you could make with this is the best, because it's comedy after all.
Okay. And this my father. A vengeance on it. There it is. Do we have a staff? Now, sir, this staff is my
yeah,
sister.
well, let's talk about that for a moment. This is another PG part. Because the character is male,
Oh.
so the character's staff comes built in.
Yeah. I'm at a disadvantage then.
Yeah, but you're an actor, so. You okay? I don't want
Yeah.
to embarrass you. Okay, good.
I gotta think about this one. I don't know how to
Would
go
you-
about this without like.
Without what? Grabbing your staff?
Yeah.
That's what the script says.
All right. Okay. Now, sir, this staff is my sister. For look you, she is white as a lily and as small as a wand. This hat is Nan, our maid.
Yeah, do you want my hat?
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, as far as the hat itself is concerned, we would have had a conversation. Yeah, sidebar here. When we're actually going to do an unrehearsed performance, all the actors meet individually with the coordinator, usually me, right? And we talk through all the lines to make sure that I say things to them like, you have a staff already with you, or whatever, right? Giving them those instructions. And in this case, they would say, okay, is there a dirty joke about the hat too? And I'd say, no, we'll ask costumes to make sure you have a hat.
All right.
And then we write down a note, and we make sure that on the day of the performance, there's a hat there.
This hat is Nan, our maid. I am the dog. No, the dog is himself.
Brilliant. Exactly. Because this is what we refer to as action to the word. We call it that because Shakespeare called it that. Action to the word means acting out the thing you say. So, I am the dog. Down she goes into the dog. And then she says, no, I'm not the dog. She gets back up out of the dog. Right on.
All right. No, the dog is himself, and I am the dog.
Oh, but you got to go back then too, right?
Okay. No, the dog is himself, and I am the dog. Oh, the dog is me, and I am myself. So.
Yeah, and those lines, that people talk sometimes about Shakespeare's wonderful poetry, and I agree. There's some really wonderful poetry in Shakespeare. I would not say that the last couple sentences qualify. That's just silliness. And it's kind of dumb silliness if you have somebody up on stage who's acting like this and says, no, the dog is himself and I am the dog. So I. That's just dumb. What you did was funny because you went back and forth, right? And I am the dog. No, I'm not the dog. Yes, I am the dog. No, I'm not the dog, right? Back and forth like that. It's just silliness, but it's funny. It's fun to watch.
Now come I to my father. Father, your blessing. Now should not the shoe speak a word for weeping. Now should I kiss my father. Well, he weeps on me. Now come I to my mother. Oh, that she could speak now like a wood woman. Well, I kiss her. Why, there 'tis. Here's my mother's breath up and down. Now come I to my sister. Mark the moan she makes. Now the dog. All this while sheds not a tear, nor speaks a word. But see how I lay the dust with my tears.
Yes, let's give a round of applause first. Yes. So good. And you brought up something that people don't always do here, because again, all that matters is that you do something, right? You jumped ahead to something we haven't talked about yet, which is how much we incorporate the audience. Because you cast your father, your mother, and your sister among the people in the audience. Was a perfectly reasonable way to do that. The other thing that could happen is that you could carry on talking to one shoe and the other shoe. But what you did is every bit as good, because it's the way you interpreted it in the moment. And this isn't about making sure that every actor does everything the same way. It's about making sure that they do something other than, now come I to my father. He weeps on. Now I come I to my mother, right? That's the kind of Shakespeare nobody wants to watch. So yeah, good. So the big lessons, the big takeaways from this, other than interacting with the audience, this, that, here, there, right? We got those? Well, let's go on. Yay, good. Sometimes, as I'm sure you are aware, there's more than one person on stage when we do Shakespeare. So this time we'll need one person to read, but we'll have some other people on stage as well. Who wants to read? Great. Now, we're among friends. I can probably just ask you to cast. Is there anybody here who really does not want to get up? can't cast that one. Okay, you can cast, you need to cast somebody to be the wife that you're getting married today. You're a man, you're getting married to somebody. Is that who it is?
That's who it is.
Okay, great. And you need to cast someone to be, well, you need to cast 2 more people. I won't tell you who they are yet. Just 2 people. All right.
Let's take some of this up here to help Todd out a little bit because he's shooting over in the dark an awful lot that direction. You're welcome, Todd.
Yes, good. I wonder, would it be helpful if we moved everybody over into here? Because I keep gravitating down here.
Yes.
Because yeah, can we do that? Thank you.
Sorry.
So meanwhile, while you take a little look at that, you can go over here because I need to have a secret conference with the other people you cast. So one of you is going to be the sweet prince and the other one of you is going to be Leonardo, and it doesn't matter, you can decide among yourselves. You're the woman who's being married, so you're okay. We already know who you are. You're the bride.
Okay, got it.
She's the groom. It's all right.
What time you're
This is it.
We good?
Yeah.
All right. Good. So, you ready? The one thing you know for sure is there she is, the woman you're marrying.
Sweet prince, you learned me no.
Okay, now I have a question for the actor. What's your name?
Olivia.
Olivia. Well, now I have a second question for you. I guess that was already one. So don't look that way, but tell me, who's playing the prince? Oh, don't look that way, because they might let you know. Who's playing the prince? You don't know. You don't know. You're lost. Okay, let me try to get you some help. Audience, who's playing the prince? Oh, they don't know either. Nobody knows who's playing the prince. What are we going to do? How can somebody on stage help you so that you feel less lost? When you say sweet prince, because that's who you're talking to,
Can act princely,
and then you'll know who you're talking to?
and then I'll know.
Okay, I think it'll happen this time. I predict it.
I think I know.
They both are.
Sweet prince,
Okay, Olivia, do you not have what you need?
no.
Okay, then how else can someone on stage help you? Somebody's playing the prince.
They can step forward.
They can step forward.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. Would that help you?
Yes.
Okay, so the job of every actor in an unrehearsed production at all times, except when they are speaking, is to help that poor person who's stuck speaking, because it is the loneliest position in the world to be like, I have all these lines and I don't know the plot of this play and I don't know who's playing who, right? So everybody else, it's like being the person who suddenly has the football. If your team doesn't help you out and block for you, you will never make it downfield. But if everybody's on the same team and works to make it happen, it will happen. You're the one with the football. So somebody, this time, I predict, will not only look princely, but they will let you know that they are playing the prince.
Sweet prince, you learned me noble thankfulness. There, Leonardo, take her back.
Yes, okay, perfect. We're going to stop there for a moment. Now, not only did that help you, but by extension, as soon as we help you, who else benefits? The audience, because now they all know who the prince is and they all know who Leonardo is. I've seen Shakespeare productions where, and usually, certainly at this point in my life, I know the play, I know the basic plot, but I sit there in the audience and sometimes I'm like, oh my God, they just said somebody's name and I don't know who that person is. Some of these plays have 50 characters in them. How am I supposed to know who among these people is Strato? The only way I can know that is if either the director does something to let me know who that is, or in a show that's not directed, like Unrehearsed Shakespeare, the actors themselves bail me out, right? So it helps you and it helps the audience to know. Cool. Let's go back to the beginning. Don't look at them, because they're going to decide right now whether they're going to stay the same characters or whether they want to switch. Because now we've rehearsed. Oh, by the way, the other thing you did that was awesome, right, is, may I? There, Leonardo, take her back again, right? Because if you had done this, here, Leonardo, take her back again, that's not what the script says, right? Or if you had said there but walked with her, no, you create distance. That's only one of the ways you could have done it, because just like with the shoe, it could be done in different ways. It could either be there, Leonardo, take her back again, or if you can come back, or it could be there, Leonardo, take her back again, as long as there's distance between the two of you, right? Cool. Let's go from the top again.
Sweet prince, you learn me noble thankness. There, Leonardo, take her back again. Give not this rotten orange to your friend.
Yes, good. And why did you cross a little bit toward her? You're right. Do you know why? Okay, let me help you out. She's the orange. She's not literally an orange, right? But you're referring to her as that, as a poetic device. You just said, there, take her back. Distance, and now you're going to say this rotten orange? So you're going to cross to her again.
Oh, look at me. I'm just doing it. Wait, sorry. Continue from there.
Sure, yeah.
She's but the sign and semblance of her honor. Behold how like a maid she blushes here. Oh,
Okay,
what-
good, because that was here, right? So you have to be close when you say here. We'll talk about the blush in just a second, because there's something, well, yeah.
Sorry.
I guess we'll talk about it now.
Sorry.
We'll talk about your character in a minute. But yeah, exactly, when you're told to do that. I don't know of any editions, there's probably one out there somewhere, but no editions of Much Ado About Nothing where the script says, here, hero blushes, as a stage direction, because it's not necessary, it's in the lines, right? Behold how like a maid she blushes here. So how does this actor know that she's supposed to blush? She's only got her own lines. Oh, I haven't told you that part. When we do Unrehearsed Shakespeare, you don't have the whole play, you only have your lines. So you don't know that you're supposed to blush in this scene. But when somebody says, now she's blushing, what are you going to do? Look, she's blushing! Yeah? Something, right? And you're going to do it immediately. It's just as if, okay, for example, right now, if I were to say, yes, Nora, your hand's up, what did you want? Yes, Nora, I see you raising your hand. Oh, look, she's raising her hand because I tossed a stage direction to her that she didn't know I was going to toss, but she did the thing. Same thing here, right? Now, when we do those meetings, the one-on-one meetings that I do with the actors, I always try to tell them too. Like in this moment, I would say, okay, the only way she knows she's supposed to blush is because you say it. Make sure she doesn't miss that. Because you don't want to say, behold, how like a maid she blushes. Because then she's going to miss it. But if you say, behold, how like a maid she blushes here. And if we're in a very small theater here. If we were in a large space like the plays were originally written to be done in, what would you do? Oh, well, yeah, maybe that too, but how would you blush? So we all know. It's more like what you did the very first time. Yeah, sure, right? Or something that's a big, yes, exactly. So, and if I were to say, for example, she's blushing, and now she's going down on one knee, and she's pleading to me, whatever you get told by the other actor to do, you're going to do. Who knows what she's going to make you do next? Not in my hands. Okay, go ahead, Olivia. By the way, one more thing. You don't do exactly the same thing every time, but you've gone to basically the same part of the stage to start every time because we're so used to rehearsing that every time we do this, you're like, okay, last time I did this, I guess I'll do it again. That's how rehearsal works. But you could be over there, you could be here, you could all switch sides of the stage. Who knows? Everything is open for you. There's no director telling you what to do except Shakespeare, and he's dead, and he's only worried about here and there and this and that.
He's dead?
Spoilers.
We just celebrated his birthday.
You're being directed by zombie Shakespeare.
Behold, how like a maid she blushes here. Can cunning sin cover itself with all? Comes not that blood as modest evidence.
Okay, cool, but comes not what blood?
That blood.
Yes. So do you see why I told you that? Because you were too close to her. You were right here, and you said, comes not that blood as modest evidence to witness simple virtue, right? But now you've been told by a word, comes not that blood, yeah? So already in this scene, we've got you close to her, far from her, close to her, far from her, right? Okay. So I challenge you to think about somebody in your life who you have known to be dating someone, and then one day they're like, we are never speaking again. It is over. My heart is broken. And then the next day, you see them with the person again. Like, what are you doing? You swore to me yesterday. And then the next day, they're like, no, it's really over this time, right? Basically, that's what we're seeing you do all within this monologue, right? There, take her back again. Comes not, or no, give not this rotten orange to your friend. That blood comes, right? Back and forth, back and forth. You don't have to do a character analysis to see these things. All you have to do is follow the thises and the that's and the heres and the theres, and the blocking creates that relationship itself. Okay, I'll let you do more this time. Promise.
Comes not that blood as modest evidence. All that you see her, that she were made by these exterior shows?
Yeah, these is like this, right? These exterior shows, so you're close again.
These exterior shows?
Yeah.
I lost my place.
Yes. Okay, let's stop since you've lost your place. So easy to do, I know, because you're trying to do so many things at once. The first person I did this with used to describe it as trying to pat your head and rub your belly while you also juggle with your feet. Yeah? It's so much stuff going on all at one time. Now, the part about, let's go back to, would you not swear, all you that see her?
Would you not swear
Yeah,
all that you see?
right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so, oh, and let's define a word too. Do you guys know the Elizabethan meaning of maid or maiden? It's not somebody who cleans your house. It's a virgin, yeah? So what you're saying, here you're about to get married, and you're basically saying, she pretends to be a virgin, but she's not, so I am not marrying her. So, where are the guests at your wedding? You know there are two, but you say all you that see her. So you must be talking to more than two people. Why not? They can all be the guests at the wedding, right? Because we always want to include them and incorporate them when we can. So when you ask a question like, would you not swear all you that see her that she were made by these exterior shows? Yeah? And audience members, now you get to get involved because audience members in Shakespeare's day did not behave themselves and sit quietly in the dark with their hands folded until, well, because for one thing, they couldn't sit in the dark because if they sat in the dark, they wouldn't be able to see the actors because they didn't have stage lighting. Yeah, so they're outside and a lot of them had to stand and they were rowdy and some of them liked to participate in the show. They all know the plot. They all know she actually is a virgin, you've been lied to, so when you ask a question to the audience like, would you not swear that she were a maid by these exterior shows? The audience would feel very free to answer you.
Would you not swear, all you that see her, that she were made by these exterior shows?
Yes, yes.
But she is none.
Yeah, you can argue directly with the people who were talking to you. They
She
said,
knows the heat of a luxurious bed.
No.
Her blush is guiltiness, not modesty.
No.
yeah. So you see how that works, that you said, would you not swear, all you that see her, that she were made by these exterior shows?
Yes.
But she is none.
Oh.
Yeah? You get into an argument with the audience the way it's written. Because you ask them for their opinion, they give you their opinion, and you fight back. Shakespeare's written it all in. Yeah? This, that, these, those, here, there. So far, so good? Okay, good. Let's be done with this one. Applause. Questions or follow-up?
Email.
Onward we go then. Sometimes there's more than one actor who speaks, as you also know. I'm so glad these pens are here. Maybe I use them as props. So I need two actors to speak. Now, my father and my brother are mathematicians, but I'm not really, but I've been around mathematicians all my life, and I know this is not two people. Splendid. I don't care who does which. Have one. Okay, now you'll see on the page that you have a bunch of dots across the page. Everybody will have to deal with this sooner or later. A bunch of dots across the page, and then 4 syllables or so that are somebody else's line. You don't say those. That's when you know. That's your cue
Good, 'cause I don't know how
to
to
say
pronounce
whatever
that
comes
word,
next.
so that's good.
What is it?
That's
The
hard.
consies? Yeah. You can say pansies if you want. It's the same thing.
Pansies.
Yeah. And you'll need these. We also need a king and a queen who don't speak. No lines for the king or the queen.
I'll be the king.
Great. So because you don't have a cue line, you get to talk first. Then after you talk, you'll hear remembrance fitted and you talk again. Yeah? And you don't actually have pens with you. Actually, it's great if you have pens with you. Pens are perfect. You don't think they're pens though, but.
There's Rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there's pansies. That's for thoughts.
A document in madness, thoughts and remembrance fitted.
There's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you. And here's some for me. We may call it herb grace Sundays.
Okay, we're going to stop for something there because there's a whole new idea that we'll do this scene more than once. There's a whole new idea grammatically that we'll bring into this. We've got this, that, and this, that, here, there, these, those, and so forth. We've already figured those out. But when you say we also know that we is plural, right? We implies that there's more than one person involved. So when you say we, you have to be physically with someone else. So in other words, I can't stand here and say we. I can stand here and say we. And in fact, you always want to be close enough. You can touch, or you can be just close enough to touch. What's not fair is to kind of do this so you can't be wrong. Like, no, I'm far away. That woman there. No, I'm close. This woman here. That's cheating, right? You want to really commit. But when you say we, you make yourself a unit with somebody else. The best way to know that you're close enough is to touch them. Yeah?
We may call herb grace Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end, for bonny sweet Robin is all my joy.
Thoughts and affliction, passion, hell itself. She turns to favor and to prettiness.
Okay, cool. So you handle all the theirs. I'm going to ask you this time, we'll do it again.
Okay.
And to handle the
I'll
there
pick them up off
differently,
the
because
ground,
there are
whatever.
so many different ways to do. Oh, no, before we go there. Yes? What were you saying?
Oh, I said I almost picked him up off the ground, but I wasn't sure.
Thank you for bringing that up, because you can't do that unless you're told to, because if you do, and the next line is, there they are, still on the floor, right? It disrupts where the play is going. And there are so many ways of that. You don't make it, 21st century actors, we think about in terms of making choices, right? Like, oh, this time I'm going to try it as though something, or I'm going to laugh my way through the scene this time. If I start on stage in an unrehearsed Shakespeare performance, laughing, I only have my own lines. What if the person's first line to me is, "But cousin, wherefore weepst thou?" Right? Then I've just gotten the play off track. The audience is no longer watching a play, they're laughing at a mistake. So you did the right thing by leaving them there and listening for somebody possibly to say, "And look how verily she does pick up the piquancies," right? If somebody says that, then you need to do the thing, follow the direction like the blush, yeah? This time, rather than treating them as a bunch, yeah? And not that there's anything wrong with what you did, because it followed all the rules, but this will give us another look at how it can work. And yeah, that's all I'll say for now.
There's Rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there's peonies. This is sarcasm. That's for thoughts.
A document in madness, thoughts and remembrance fitted.
There's spinel for you.
Okay, good. Now, especially this one, although we can even go back to the beginning if you want to, you can get them away from you by doing that. There are other ways to get them not to be with you.
She got her pens out?
You could throw them. That might be a little rough. You could also talk to anyone,
Okay.
not only to that person, right? Because we're not told exactly who you're talking to. Now, there's a whole other thing about that, actually. Let me go tiny sidebar about this. If you are really into your multiple European languages, for example, you would. Anybody here take French class ever?
I tried.
You did. Did you learn anything?
No.
Did you? Do you know the word pensive?
No.
Pensive means thoughtful. One of the things that you missed on your French test when you flunked was that penser, P-E-N-S-E-R, is the French verb to think.
It's the same in Spanish.
Oh.
There you go. Is it pensar or penser or something?
Pensar.
Yeah. Okay, so it just so happens that this character has been gone studying in France. So probably when she makes a reference to pansies, which sounds kind of like pensée, right? It probably is a pun that's based on French. There's some pansies, pensées, right? That's for thoughts. So that probably goes to that actor, and there are reasons that the other things go to different characters. We don't have to really get into that, but it's just an example of how intricate some of this really gets, yeah? So yes, they can go to a variety of people. Oh, by the way, also you notice, well, no, you haven't done it yet. Never mind, go ahead. We'll let you do it first.
There's Rosemary. That's for remembrance.
What a weird way to give someone something.
You're right.
Right? No, I'm not criticizing you. I'm not criticizing you at all. Because actually, any way that you use the word there when you give something to somebody, I think is actually weird.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird for me to say, even if I hand it to you, to say, there's your pen, right? For me, now if I were to say, here, take this pen, that's different. But we don't say there when we give things to people, we say here. My guess on this is that by following the rule, you automatically look like you're not exactly right in the head, because you're doing things like, and you're behaving kind of like a frightened animal or something. There's pansies, that's for thoughts, right? As opposed to, here's a pen, enjoy it. Yeah? So I think this is Shakespeare, because, by the way, for those of you who don't know the play or don't recognize the scene, this character has lost her mind.
Oh.
And we can tell that she has, partly because she's not going around behaving normally. She's doing things like, there's Rosemary, that's for remembrance. Yeah? It's really weird to lay something at somebody's feet and then back away, or to put it in their hand and back away. She's doing all of those things, or some version of those things. Okay.
There's Rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there's pansies. That's for thoughts.
A document in madness, thoughts and remembrances fitted.
There's spinel for you. And columbines. There's rue for you. And here's some for me. We may call it herb grace of Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they're all withered. Oh, my father died. They say he made a good end. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy.
Thought and affliction, passion, hell itself, she turns to favor and to prettiness.
Okay, so I would have told you and I think I wasn't actually able to see because of my angle, but I believe Nora did it. I would have told you in our text session that when you say you must wear your rue with a difference, that's a stage direction to the other actor. You've just given her rue, and then you say, you must wear your rue with a difference. And then she suddenly in the moment, she's listening, she's like, what the heck does that mean? I don't know. Put it behind my ear, put it in my, right? But it's that, there's some kind of secret connection. It's like if I were to say, yes, I see you have a question, your hand is up. but two of you. It's amazing. Yeah, that I'm really leaning into that and making sure the stage direction gets clearly thrown. Again, that's stuff we would have all talked about in the text session. I was going to say something else. Oh, I know what it is. So, did you see? Because you all know how to keep yourself open on stage, right? Our audience for this moment is clearly here, and you got yourself bound up in this, right? And you knew it right away.
Yes.
The thing is, who's carrying the football? We all want to help in a situation like that because you can tell suddenly the actor is getting bound up. And so there's all kinds of ways you can help them. Do it to me. Come, close yourself off to talk to me. Yeah, you're coming this way. I can move to downstage of you or something to try to just help with that situation. Because another thing that happens a lot, and we see it happening a little bit here, is because the actors aren't sure what to do, they tend to gravitate back. Yeah, and then that leaves the poor person who's speaking with nobody to talk to without turning around. When you realize it's happening in an unrehearsed Shakespeare performance, you just fix it. That's how it all is. It's less like a rehearsed play and more like a football game or something. Oh, that's happening now, I guess I'd better do this, or else they're going to get a touchdown. Yeah, or else we're all going to be standing here like this, talking to a blank wall. We have ways of fixing that, and we just do it, right? We don't have to wait for a director to tell us. You see what I'm talking about too, about the weirdness of giving the pens to people that way, yeah? Any other thoughts about this? One more thing I want to say about the we, right? You have to be with a unit with other people on we. Same thing applies for us and our, because they are just other forms of the word we, right? So far what we've really talked about is this, that, these, those, here, there, we, us, and our. Yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Let's give them a round of applause. Oh yeah.
Audience? Or?
It can be. There's no specific rule about it, but it certainly can be. There are lots of ways you could do that. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Oh, thank you. And did everybody get a chance to see kind of how these cue scripts work? That there are that line of dots that cue you that somebody else is speaking. Yeah. Yep.
So that would be a cue line.
That's the cue line. Yep. All right. This, that, these, those, here, there, we, us, and our. Let's skip to Gentlemen of Verona for the moment and go to this one. From the Scottish play. We'll try not to say the title. We're in a theater. 3 people read this time. Let's see, it's nonstop. I've got scenes at the end that have like 9 people in them, so. Two out of 3. And by the way, also the other thing we do in text sessions, because I know this will come up this time because there's some really obscure language in here, we would talk about the meanings of any unfamiliar words and so forth too. You don't really just throw people out there and say, hey, do whatever. And we haven't really talked through this. Some of it may not make sense, but just make sure you obey the rules that we've talked about. And there's a new one in here too, I think. When we get to that, we'll talk about it. Good? One of you is a king, and it says on your script who it is. And so you'll want to be aware of that. Your character name is written at the top. I realized it wasn't there, so I wrote them in pen so that you'd know who people are talking to. Let's give it a shot. Who talks first?
Oh, worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude. I was waiting for one of them to step up when I said worthiest cousin.
Unfortunately, they're both your cousins, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, worthiest
What do you
cousin.
do if you don't know who, if you don't know that you're a cousin, or if you don't know if you're...
Right. So I would hope that we would also, in the text session beforehand, talk a little bit about the relationships between the people in the play. Shakespeare also uses the word cousin really indiscriminately, like if anybody you're related to is your cousin, basically, whether they're your cousin or your uncle or your third cousin or whatever. Pretty liberal with that.
Oh, Worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before.
Okay,
Far?
now here's a,
Is that
Here's a
how
new-
you say it? Because it's 2 R's and A.
yes, you know, that's probably Shakespeare's attempt to give the character a dialect.
Far.
They are, after all, from Scotland, you know. But anyway, so it wouldn't really be far. That's a little bit pirate land instead,
is
but
pirate
whatever. Yeah, so don't worry too much about that right now. You got the word right, but you said a word before that that's important. See, I keep coming back to these foreign language things, and you will love this, teaching Spanish. So, pop quiz for the rest of you. So, what is second person singular? Oh, well then what's second person plural?
You use.
Yeah, that's still.
How about in proper English?
Thou?
Yeah. Thou is singular.
Oh.
Yeah, it used to be used all the time in Shakespeare's day, well, mainly before Shakespeare. During Shakespeare's time, it was starting to sort of die out, but he still uses it. How do we use it today in French, Spanish, German, etc.? You know? I know one of you knows.
Thee?
Well, what's the equivalent in,
sorry.
have you studied Spanish or French or German or anything? Okay. You say it to people that you're very close to emotionally. It's sometimes culturally, it's actually a big deal to transition in a friendship from calling somebody you to calling them thou. Translated, right, actually. So they actually have a special verb for it even in German, duzen. To call somebody by the close you name is what it means, yeah? So it means that you're close to the person that you're talking to. It means emotionally close. Unrehearsed Shakespeare uses it also to mean physically close, so it demonstrates your emotional closeness. So in the same way that I would say, this woman, or that I could approach another actor by saying we, yeah? I can approach an actor very closely by saying thou. And that's the rule, yeah? And if you're wondering how close is close, again, you don't want to be surfing in safety land. In order to really get to a thou, you probably need to touch the person to be sure for yourself. Otherwise, you just need to get so close that both of you are a little uncomfortable. Because growing up in the culture we grow up in, we don't really feel good about standing close to somebody, yeah? If you're so close that it feels like, oh, personal space alarm, then you're in the right spot, okay? When you go back, if you've called someone thou and then you go back to you create distance again.
Sorry, the light got in my eye. Now it's hard to see.
Yeah.
O worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before. That swiftest wing of
Recompense.
recompense is slow to overtake thee. Thee.
Yeah, yep.
Thee. Would thou hadst less deserved that?
Oh, that functions, this is a tricky
Differently.
word. That functions lots of different ways in our language. When it's an adjective describing a thing, like that piece of floor, that was a dumb example. That chair, right? That ceiling, that person. It's different when you're just using it as the swiftest drink of recompense is slow to overtake the what was it that came up there? Is it that?
That the proportion both.
Oh yes, that the proportion. Yeah, it's not talking about a thing there, right? It's a different part of speech.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. We have so many words in English. Why does that have to mean multiple things? It's very confusing.
That the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine, only I have left to say, more is thy due, than more than all can pay.
The service and loyalties I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness.
Aha, and now you notice that character switches and says, Your Highness. That's a you, because your being the adjectival form, I guess, right, of you, it still functions as a you. So you've been in a thou relationship, very close together. The one who breaks it is this character.
Okay.
So what did you say at the beginning?
Your
The service and the
Highness.
loyalty I owe in doing pays itself. Your Highness moving away because it's you.
Okay. Your Highness part is to receive our duties.
Yes, receive whose duties?
And,
What I'm saying is our is like, oh, I'm sorry, I just
okay.
tapped my microphone. How
Okay,
helpful
got
is
it.
Yeah, like remember the we, us, and our rule,
I
right?
need to circle all of those before we do it.
Well, you know, when people are preparing for performance, they usually do circle those words or highlight them or something. Oh, didn't mention this. We perform this carrying a little scroll that has all your lines on it. So it's basically this, but it's on a scrolled up piece of paper that you can advance through. I don't have one with me to show you, but yeah, you've got your scroll with you on stage. Audiences come to just accept it as part of the performance the same way that you forgive instrumentalists in a symphony orchestra for having their music on a stand in front of them. It doesn't bother you. You're not like, oh, these amateurs, right? It's not that. The audience realizes that it's there. They forget about it. It's really helpful to point at people with. You can hit people with it. Great for dirty jokes. It's just the gift
Only
that
I
keeps
had my
giving.
staff.
Exactly, right?
Your Highness part is to receive our duties. And our duties are to, now see, I would want to go your throne and state, but yours backwards? Okay. And our duties are to your throne and state. Children and servants out here, maybe?
Again, we would talk about this in the text session. What it actually means are to your state, what is it?
Children and servants,
Yeah.
which,
Our duties are to your throne like children and servants. Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what our duties are. Our duties are dependent on you like servants and children are.
okay.
By the way, since we're stopped, did you notice the king tried to include one person and exclude another one? Well, they didn't, not necessarily try to do that, but that's what the action made happen. Yes? Don't have to do a character analysis to know that that's what the action is doing. You don't have to have a motivation. Very non-21st century. Your motivation doesn't matter. What matters is where you are on the stage. There was a coming together of the king and one character, which automatically excluded the other character. And then what happened? That character moved away and included this character and excluded that character. We're watching the personal dynamics of these people and their relationships play out in front of us just by following the rules. Pick it up wherever, Mary.
Rule follower.
That's me.
So go back to that same spot.
Please do.
Okay, so I gotta practice this. Your Highness part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state, children and servants, which do but what they should, by doing everything safe toward your love and honor.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee. And
Plant who?
Plant thee.
These close.
Wait, plant thee. Plant thee. Plant.
Close. Think of it this way. You're not used to saying "the," right? You, the actor. I'm sorry, I forget. I don't know your name. Elena, you don't use the word "thee" and "thou." You in speech every day, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Right. You also probably don't very often stand this close to people.
Nope.
So those two go together. The word you don't use and the place you don't stand.
Oh.
Thee and thou are getting very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good rule.
You know
Trick.
what? And I've taught this workshop dozens of times, and today is the first time I thought of it that way, and I'm going to keep that.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing, noble Banquo. Banquo?
Yep.
Okay. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so.
Yeah. Do you know who Banquo is? He tried to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's natural, you don't know. So you were talking to Mary as though she was Banquo. Meanwhile, over to the side, the other actor's like, hello, I am Banquo. Hey.
Okay, I see it.
You see? Yeah? Because you're actually switching. You didn't know. I have to tell a little story about something that happened to me once with this. So the first show I did this way was Richard III as an actor. And there was a wonderful actress who, we all played multiple roles in that show, by which I mean, that let's say, and I'm sorry, I forget your name, Stephen. So like Stephen and I, on different days, would flip roles. This is so that no matter how many performances we did, we could never do the same show because the cast would never be exactly the same. So I had prepared the role of Hastings, and I had prepared the role of Stanley. And the morning of a show, we would get told which role we were playing that day. But you may have noticed that it would be an error to try to make one Stanley costume and have me wear it on Tuesdays and Stephen wear it on Wednesdays, right? So he had a nobleman costume, I had a nobleman costume. Hastings is a nobleman, Stanley's a nobleman. Easy, right? I just wear the nobleman costume. So does he. But at one of the performances, this wonderful actress named Michelle, she knew that I had played Hastings the day before. So she looked across the stage and she came charging toward me saying, "And thou, Lord Hastings!" But the problem was, I wasn't playing Lord Hastings that day, I was playing Lord Stanley. So what did we do? The other guy, his name was Alan, who was playing Lord Hastings that day, was also on stage. So he just stepped forward into her path and I stepped away out of her path, like in a football game, right? And everything was okay and we didn't have to stop the show. It was a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake that caused a real problem. Same thing here. You may start talking to Mary and then suddenly realize, oh no, the other actor's giving me a signal. You are Banquo. I knew it all along. I was just pretending with that Mary business.
To make thee, okay. I've begun to plant thee, and will labor, to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so, let me enfold thee, and hold thee to my heart.
What's that mean?
Let me, wait.
Oh.
Should I have moved out of the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What you did is great,
Okay.
because that just unclutters the picture, right? Yeah. What does it mean, let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart?
Let me just give you my heart.
Yes, and what is enfold?
Oh, come on.
It's all right, don't fold yourself around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you comfortable giving this man a hug?
Sure.
Okay, then that's
I
what you're
have to
saying,
hug
right?
a donkey.
Let me.
Wait.
Well, so we know where you rank.
Donkey. Steven. I got it.
No!
Let me go get the head real quick.
So you're saying, let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart, means let me put my arms around you and hold you to my heart. Yep.
Okay.
Do you see what's coming? Awesome.
I think so.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Thou hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
There, if I grow, the harvest is your own.
Okay. Yes. Now, the way that worked out, because you were concerned with your book too, right? Which is okay, right? The hug broke immediately. Can we do it again and you don't break the hug?
Yes.
Because again, sort of like the thing we talked about before, stay here with the shoe, right? Until you're told to go to the other shoe or do whatever other kind of thing. Same thing here. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart. If something in the text doesn't tell you to break the embrace, you're going to hug for the rest of the scene.
Okay. No less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
There, if I grow, the harvest is your own.
Yeah, big diss, yes? Because, and this happens to be the king. The king says, let me give you a big hug, and the first word talking about your heart. The first word is there, as in there in your heart. There if I grow, the harvest is your own. Immediately, Banquo breaks the hug and moves away. It tells us a lot about how we interpret as the audience. The actor doesn't have to make a choice about this, but it tells us a lot about how Banquo must feel about this relationship. He does not want to be held close to the king's heart. As an audience member, I know that Banquo just heard this prediction that his children are going to be kings, that the current king should be assassinated. Macbeth heard it too. So when the king tries to hug me, I think I would get away from him too. It feels uncomfortable in that moment. But the actor doesn't have to think that. As an audience member, I fill in the gaps by the actions that the actors take. Yeah? Good? What do we remember from this one? Thee, thou, thine, thyself, all those you words that start with th. Whenever you have basically the equivalent of you, but it starts with the th, you, your, yours, etc., that's the close one, because you don't use it and you don't like to get this close. Yeah? Good. Let's give these folks a round of applause. It's all right. It is all right. Okay. Are we feeling restless? Do you need a break? Forward we go. All right. Yeah. It would be great to have somebody read this. If they don't want to, if you're all read out for the moment, I'll do this one. Does somebody want to read? I can, but I need 2 other actors. That's the trap. Because this time it's not really important who reads, it's important who listens. Sure, come on up. Okay, now all you have to decide here really is who. I can tell you your names, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is one of you is the male character, one of you is the female character, decide.
Man. All right. Every time.
And the man's name is Cassio, by the way. Now there's moments like this in Midsummer Night's Dream too. This is that theatrical device where somebody is talking on stage, but the other people on stage, the other characters on stage can't hear them, right? And the audience just accepts that, just FYI. Ready? He takes her by the palm. Aye, well said, whisper. With as little a web as this will I ensnare as great a fly as Cassio. Aye, smile upon her, do. I will guide thee in thine own courtship. You say true, 'tis so indeed. If such tricks as these strip you out of your lieutenantry, it had been better you had not kissed your 3 fingers so oft. Yeah, good. I have a question for you because I'm aware, where was your focus while we were doing this? Why was your focus there?
Recognized you were narrating what's going on.
Yep. Let me do better. Because I'm not quite making the point I want to make. He takes her by the palm. Aye, well said, whisper. With as little a web as this will I ensnare as great a fly as Cassio. Aye, smile upon her, do. I will guide thee in thine own courtship. You say true, 'tis so indeed. If such tricks as these strip you out of your lieutenantry, okay, is your focus still there?
It's split now.
It's split now. One of the reasons it's split, I think, is because the actors are doing things they're not told to do. Am I wrong? I think there has been some additional movement. It's okay. This is what would be probably expected in a rehearsal process for a rehearsed play. But in an unrehearsed play, you've got to be constantly only doing, right? It's like when you talked to her earlier. Oh no, she's not in the room. That's why. It's when she talked earlier about having the temptation to pick up the pen, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Yes. So you guys did great when I was telling you what to do, and then you were like, he's not telling us what to do. We better do something. Is how it felt, right? And that draws the focus. What we ideally want is that I am interesting enough that the focus is on me until I say, oh look, he's kissing her hand. And then by the time you look, it's happening, yeah, because you guys are responding immediately. This always happens in this section. I'm always able to make that point. I'm going to start somewhere random so you don't know. Ready? It had been better you had not kissed your 3 fingers so oft, which now again you are most apt to play the sur in. Very good, well kissed, an excellent curtsy. 'Tis so indeed. Yet again your fingers to your lips, would they were cluster pipes for your sake. Okay, so now you see too why the earlier stuff like this is not a great idea, because then when the curtsy comes, the curtsy gets narrated too, and it's in a very specific place. Make sense? So this is my attempt to really make sure I'm throwing the stage directions when they need to be thrown, because otherwise you guys aren't going to know what to do, right? And if we were to rehearse a production of this, we would go over this section and the director would be like, okay, now you kiss her 3 fingers. Like, yes, I know, the other actor already told me in his line. Yeah? It all gets taken care of by itself. Yeah? Make sense? And you notice also, it only matters that you know who is he and who is she, and so that they know which person needs to follow what stage direction. And you picked up on the fact, probably the female character is the one to curtsy. Yes?
Yeah.
Right, cool. All right, give them a round of applause. Give me a thumbs down. So this, that, these, those, here, there, we, us, our, forms of you, and forms of thou, right? Action to the word, which we had some of in the first one, right? And also throwing stage directions and making sure you listen for stage directions. There's some of just about all of those things in this one. So this time 5 people speak. And right now, let's just draw at random. It is 5, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. There they are. Don't show anybody else your paper once you have it. We'll keep it secret. I'll come around and check on who's who.
I feel like I have 2.
You do? I thought there were 6 in there. Oh, what's happening? Okay. 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 Oh, we have 2 people playing that role. How exciting that would have been. I think we do. Oh, this is the right one.
I'll go sit down.
You can do this one.
Okay.
I'm not sure how I managed to do that, but we caught the problem. Okay, good. So I will tell you that this actor and this actor and this actor are already on stage, and the other 2 actors are entering. You don't have to go off the stage or whatever, but
I missed the directions. Am I on or off?
you're on.
Okay, we 3.
And you
Okay.
probably stand in the same part of the stage.
3 of us?
Doesn't really matter. It's going to be easier if you do.
Whatever it is. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna fight.
And whoever doesn't have a cue at the top of the page begins. Have I screwed up again? Everybody has a cue. Oh, no, it's you.
It's me.
Yep.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far is called to source? What are these so withered?
What or what?
What are so withered?
Yeah, you're going to say that too, but these, where do you have to be?
These. Oh,
That would be those. Yeah. Exactly.
These.
Bam. Home run.
ah.
Another sport.
What are these so withered and so wild in their attire that look not
Okay,
like
okay, good. Now I'm going to give you a bit of the coaching I would give in the text session. You have to give a whole lot of stage directions here to some of the actors.
Uh-oh.
You need to make sure they hear that they are that, that they are that, that they are that, that they do this on, or you can say on it if you want, that they do this. You have lots, you are basically telling them, now do some jumping jacks, quick, now, I don't know what, juggle, quickly now, run a race.
Okay. Does he start? Or do you want me to start?
Doesn't matter. Take me by surprise.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far it's called to source. What are these, so withered and so wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it? Live you, or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me, by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. You should be woman, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Yeah, okay, let's stop for a second. Good. Yes, you got a lot of them. Right? A lot of the things.
Only some?
No, you got them. You just want to really make sure you lean in, right? Because now, of course, you were busy reading. I was watching. There were times that some of the actors were like, oh, was that one or was that not one, right? Let's do it again.
Okay,
Just,
slower.
You're doing great. Or just more emphasis on certain things.
Okay.
I would love if we can find a way to make them do that. That's actually the part that I really care about.
I'm kind of confused about how to do that. Bite.
Say it to them in such a way that they'll do it.
1 second.
You're doing great.
Okay.
Do you need help with interpreting what it means?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ignore us.
Okay.
So, choppy finger. Everybody is at one time laying their choppy finger on their skinny lips. So, what it should ultimately look like? They should make their lips skinny. They'll put their finger on it. Chop your finger on it. Okay. I don't know how you make them do that, but that's basically what you're describing. They look like hell images.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See if you can get them to do it.
Do you want me to start at that line?
You can start wherever you want because no matter what you do, they'll wind up following the direction.
That look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it. Live you, are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me, by each once at her choppy finger at her lip, or at her skinny lips. You should be woman, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail Macbeth, thou shalt be king hereafter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so these are typical challenges that come up with
Say
this
that together?
Oh,
No. I think what happened, I think you jumped your cue.
Thane. I said a different Thane. Thane of Glamis is what I said.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
all right.
ready.
It's
I'm
all
ready
right.
this time.
So, yeah, by the way, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got some choppy fingers going on some skinny lips there. Can we go from speak if you can, what are you? Sure. That's a good place.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
Oh, hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail Macbeth, thou shalt be king hereafter.
Yay, okay, good, good. For argument's sake, can we, no, we don't need it. We'll do it again, but I'll go ahead and tell you what happened. So we left out some of the these.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Even if you have to cross in front of somebody, right, which is a thing that I think as 21st century actors, we always try to avoid, right? We're trying to not inconvenience people, but you can just
Okay, so
Get back
let
over
me
there.
just get this. When I say they,
You want to be as close as possible to this
okay,
actor.
so Macbeth is also Thane of Cotter and
Yes,
Thane of
yes,
Glamis.
yes.
That is going
correct.
to be further away from him.
Yes,
Oh,
correct.
that's a different that.
It's a different that, yeah, yeah.
Who, you could use who instead.
Yeah,
Shall be.
exactly.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail Macbeth to thee, Thane of Cotter.
All hail Macbeth, that thou shalt be king hereafter.
Yeah, the crosses, and of course it all depends, right? Because this is different with every group of actors that does it, and frankly, with any time, if you performed it multiple times, Macbeth might be on different parts of the stage, not quite as close to you or whatever, right? But the making of the continual these matters, because then there emerges almost a sense of competition among you
Like I
two.
could
You know what I
push
mean?
her-
Well, you could. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you
or
get
we
to.
could pile on.
Yeah, exactly.
Should the you require me to move toward them or not? Speak if you can. What are you?
Doesn't have to.
Okay.
In fact, we haven't
I
gotten
mean,
to
it
this
gives
yet,
them
but
more to
what's
do
the
if
line?
I'm not on top of them.
That's true. That's true. Oh, let's do it. Can we try it that way once? Sure. Yeah, go from the same spot.
Get in our
With Caleb.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cotter.
All hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter.
Yeah. Okay. Yay! Yeah. Because that makes it much clearer. The crosses, just having that extra distance helps. Yeah. So, by the way, also yes, what Nora did, because this is great. Remember, the audience is always potentially there for you, right? So the saying "All hail Macbeth." It's interesting because you could be saying it to the audience, all hail Macbeth, hail to thee, right? Because again, the audience would be willing to participate. In Shakespeare's day, he was writing for audiences that liked to participate. So it's an invitation to them to play along in the game, which is really fun. Yeah, cool. There are a very small handful of us, fewer than are on the stage, but we can still applaud for you. Yeah, good. I love the choppy finger and skinny lips line because it makes me think of like a Halloween witch, right? Choppy finger. How do you make your finger choppy? I don't know. I guess I would do this. I don't know what else to do with my finger. Skinny lips. I've already been told I was withered. Lay my choppy finger on my skinny lips. Feel like a witch. Good. So that incorporates a whole bunch of the things together at once. Comments or questions or pushback on any of this? Let's talk about it. No? I've got more. Or do you need a break? Restless? All right.
With the unrehearsed Shakespeare, there'd always be something beforehand because I would be.
Oh, coaching sessions? Yeah. Always. Typically, I mean, it's kind of the equivalent. It's not quite that when I organize one of these, the text sessions are almost the equivalent of a full rehearsal period of a show. That's how much time I spend with individual actors. But it would be, for the person who played, for example, the role of Macbeth, I'd probably spend 3 hours one-on-one with them, depending on the actor.
So they're familiar with the show, they know who they are.
It doesn't matter if they're familiar with the show. It's more fun if they aren't. I love doing things the actors. One of my goals used to be, I had a grant for a while where I was doing a whole bunch of unrehearsed plays. And one of my goals for casting the shows was I would ask, gather the people together who wanted to do it. We would do 3 shows at a time, 3 shows in a weekend. And so I'd say okay, who here has never read The Winter's Tale? And the people who hadn't read it, those are the people I would cast in Winter's Tale. So they didn't know the plot before they started. But it's harder with something like Romeo and Juliet because everybody kind of knows the plot. But yeah, you would know, you could study your own. I usually give people their own lines about a month in advance so they can spend lots of time working with them if they want to. We have a one-on-one meeting. Some people want more than one-on-one meeting, which is also great. So yeah, there's a lot of preparation.
But you're ready for these, the thou, this,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, have a chance to mark them all down in your script and everything. I think once we did this for a few years, there were people like alumni would come back and participate in it again. So some people got to the point where they had done 6 or 7 productions like this, plus doing the workshops, and they started, like a lot of them wouldn't mark the script very much because they started being able to just do it spontaneously. But you have to do it a lot before that starts to happen.
One more question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the audiences enjoy unrehearsed Shakespeare as much or the same way that they? Is there a difference? Do they notice a difference?
Oh yeah, there's a big difference, I think. It's sort of like, oh, and I typically, when I do one, I always talk to the audience beforehand a little bit to make sure they know what they're watching, and I tell them to participate because that really helps in a lot of these cases. I tell them to feel free to participate. We don't force them, but I invite them, I guess is the right word, right? Define a little bit of what we're doing and allow them to have a good time. Now with, I'll give you 2 specific examples. Oh, and I think, so overall, yes, I think audiences really like it if they know what it is and if they have permission to enjoy it on the level of what it is. And I figured out how to do this with 2 shows specifically, if you can get them to participate right up front before the show even starts, then they are in the spirit from the word go. So the 2 ways that I found to do that, for 12th night, which begins with music, I asked the audience beforehand to, well, what we did actually, I think I wanted 3 titles of love songs that everybody would know. And we got them and then we voted on them. The audience voted by applause which one they wanted to do, and they chose My Heart Will Go On, okay? So then I had the audience start singing that, and then Orsino entered while they were singing and said, if music be the food of love, play on, that they have, and so forth, right? And then he says, enough, no more. It's not so sweet now as it was before, and they all stopped. Yeah, so they were in it from the beginning. The other one was with Comedy of Errors, because we had this last minute really crazy idea that what we should do, instead of the actors trying to, for all the violence, there's lots and lots of hitting of servants in it, instead of the actors having to do their nap when they get hit, we had the idea that we could have the audience do it. So we taught them how before that, and we had them run through it a couple times, and then every time one of the Antipholus characters or Adriana wound up to hit, the whole audience got ready, and then when the actor went like this, everybody did that in the audience. It was hilarious. It was so great. And so they were really involved and really liked that. And then there have been some other ones, like out of nowhere, All's Well That Ends Well was like this tremendously successful unrehearsed performance. I can't imagine seeing a production of it that worked better than the unrehearsed one. It was really kind of weird because it's not one that people know. The actors had no idea what was going on. I mean, sometimes they literally had no idea what was happening in the plot, but the audience did. So, because the actors, during the parts that they weren't in, they were off stage, you know, doing a costume change or looking at their next scene or something. Yeah?
Do you cut the scripts at all when you do it, or do you?
I used to, because I was a little concerned about losing audience, I would try to cut about 10%. Just go through and find like speeches that I thought, this is so, or lines within speeches that I thought this is so obscure, no one will get this.
What are the normal rep times typically?
I tell people to really try to keep it moving as much as possible. So it varies. I was surprised at how short some of them were. Like a lot of them ran like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. Yeah, they were really, but that's what people were really motoring through. Some of the, Richard III, which is a really long play anyway, I was sweating because I felt like everybody in the audience was getting so bored because it was like 3 hours and 10 minutes or something, and I was like, oh my God, will this never end? Yeah, but some of them were surprisingly compact.
Like Hamlet.
I haven't done that one. I don't know what would happen.
Cut it down to a smooth 4 hours.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to tell you also because of some of the surprises that are in these. So like, spoiler alert, if you don't know Measure for Measure and if you plan on reading it soon, but in Measure for Measure, Claudio gets condemned to death. They're going to cut off his head. And so the people in the prison where they're holding him decide he's too nice to have his head cut off. So they arrange to have a different prisoner get his head cut off, and they'll pretend that it's Claudio's head. And but they tell Isabella, his sister, who loves him very much, they tell her that he's having his head cut off, and they never let her in on the fact that it's actually somebody else's head. So when these two actors were really good friends, the ones who played Claudio and Isabella, the brother and sister. And so on stage, she doesn't know the play, right? She hasn't read it before. So they told her on stage, well, your brother's head's been cut off. He's dead. And it was the first she knew of it. So she got to have the same experience as the character had. But then in Act 5, when she was on stage and her brother came on stage, because it had all been a trick, again, she had the same experience as the character had. She had no idea that was going to happen. She was completely surprised, and it made her start to cry. Not because she did a character analysis, right? But because in the moment, it was such a great surprise for her. Really cool. When it works, it really works. I don't know if it's everybody's cup of tea as an audience member, to be honest, but the better the actors are, the more fun it is, right? I actually get to do the Scottish play again next spring, Unrehearsed, and I'm excited about it because that's one where like if you have anybody who knows anything about the play in the audience and they have permission to participate, then when the witches start going, double, double, the audience starts saying toil and trouble with them, which is really cool. I've done it twice Unrehearsed before, and it always works. Good? I'm not going to lie to you. This is the hardest one. I need 3 people. Okay. Oh, it's just kind of random, but I don't think Steven should have this one. I think this is, no, I don't think he should have this one. So this one, oh, there's a mistake. Wait. Oh, no, there it is. It's okay, it's okay. One of you two should have this one. And then it doesn't really matter here who gets what. The 2-page one or the 1-page one. Okay, you are not on stage at the beginning. That's a candle. We should have something to probably approximate that, or you can just mime it if it's easier. This has a little bit of everything, plus it introduces the final rule or final guideline. And the final guideline is this, and it's especially important for Olivia. So, if in your line you say someone's name, then you know who you're talking to. I think it's fair to say, right? It's like Noble Banquo, yes, or Leonato, take her back again. If you say somebody's name, you cross to them, because that helps the audience know who they are, right? It defines that character for the audience. So you cross to that person. It also keeps the blocking moving. However, when there are multiple people on stage, if you don't say somebody's name, so you don't know who to cross to, you cross to the last person who spoke before you. Cross to your cue giver. So whoever it was that spoke just before you, that's who you cross to. Good? And this is really hard to do because it's counterintuitive, so we'll have to stop for it sometimes, but that's okay. No worries. We ready?
Yes.
Take it away.
In this slumbering agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That, sir, which I will not report after her.
You may to me, and 'tis most meet you should.
Neither to you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Lo you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my fast...
Good, you're close. I'm gonna stop for just a second. Here she comes, not there she is, but here
Oh, okay.
she comes.
Okay.
So you're gonna go to her, because
Okay.
you also say then this is her very guise.
Okay. Lo you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life fast asleep. Observe her, stand close.
How came she by that light?
Why, it stood by her. She has light by her continually. 'Tis her command.
You see, her eyes are open.
Aye, but their sense are shut.
What is it she does now?
Okay,
Look
let's stop for
out.
just a second. Good. You were trying to figure it out in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Her eyes are open, but their sense is shut. Do you know?
Yeah, I'm not sensing things, but they're physically open.
Yes. You're sleepwalking, actually, is what's going on.
Ew.
If that helps.
What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her to seem thus. Should I go over for thus?
Thus is a good place to cross. Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to, but yeah.
Okay. To seem thus washing her hands. I have known her continue this in this a quarter of an hour.
Yet here's a spot.
Yes, good, except cross to the person who spoke before you.
Yet here's a spot.
Hark, she speaks. I will set down what comes from her to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly.
Out, damned spots, out, I say. 1, 2, then why 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord. Fie, a soldier and a feared.
Yeah, we would have talked about this in the text session. You're crossing to your cue giver, right, which was him. And then, fie, my lord, fie is to him, right? A soldier and a feared. So he needs to act like he's afraid. You're giving him a stage direction. It's just like he takes her by the palm, right? So you're tossing that stage direction to him. What's really brilliant about this is that even though you're pretending to be sleepwalking, the character is sleepwalking. The actor is giving a stage direction to another character. You are telling him that he's afraid. He acts afraid when you tell him to, and you, in your sleepwalking days, think he's afraid because the two of you just killed the king. But he's afraid because there's a crazy sleepwalking woman who's like, out, damn spot out, I say, fie, my lord, right? Which is an even better reason to be afraid. Start wherever you want, Olivia.
Fie, my lord, fie, a soldier and feared. What need we fear?
Oh yeah, forgot to mention that. What need we fear?
What need we fear?
Or him.
What need
Since you're
we
already
fear?
Yeah, you can grab right hold of him. If the candle's getting in your way, we'll just get rid of it so you don't catch him on fire.
We just burnt down the theater.
I already said the Scotch play, it's fine. Need we fear? Who knows it? What known can call our power to compt, yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?
Do you mark that?
Oh, then, if I've had a wife, where is she now? What will these hands near be clean?
Yes. What you're doing is fine with your hands, but there's another option. I am not correcting here. I'm simply putting another possibility out there because it's also very interesting. Yours are not the only hands on stage.
What will these hands near be clean? No more oh that my lord, no more that, oh there, mayor, all this with starting.
Go to, you have known that which you should not.
She has spoke what she should not. I am sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known.
Here's the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh.
What a sigh is there. The heart is sorely charged.
I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the dignity of the whole body.
Well.
Pray God it be, sir.
This disease is beyond my practice. Yet I have known those which have walked in their sleep who have died holily in their beds.
Wash your hands. Put on your nightgown. Look not so pale. I'll tell you yet again, Ben Quir's buried. They cannot come out on his grave.
Even so.
To bed. To bed, there's knocking at the gate. Come. Give me your hand. What done cannot be undone. To bed.
Will she now go to bed?
Directly.
Okay, and we're going to pause for just a second here too. Yes, yay, getting a lot of stuff. Let's talk for a second about some of it. This scene is often associated with the lady, the sleepwalking lady, being off by herself while the other people watch her from a safe distance. I think what's awesome about this scene with this rule of the crossing is that every time one of them talks, you're sort of like a zombie who just smelled brains, right? You're like, why are you looking so pale, my lord? Yeah. And then when she starts to talk, you're like, oh, and you, this little hand, yeah? Which is really cool. I think it makes the scene really creepy. But the interesting thing with what just happened here is that you are following your script, which tells you to say, to bed, and exit, right? But you also said, and you guys picked right up on this, you said to him, give me your hand. He followed the stage direction, gave you his hand. Now the rule we've talked about, don't undo something unless you're told to undo it. So you're going to say to bed, and exit, still holding his hand. You don't know that his script tells him he has to stay on stage. So there's going to be this real life tug of war moment where you're like, we're going. And he's like, I have lines. Which is exactly what happens between the two characters. And I keep coming back to this, but as audience members, we can fill in what's actually happening there between the two of them. If we were doing a contemporary rehearsed production, we might discuss the fact that for you, who suspects, as most of the people in the kingdom do, that this woman's husband murdered the king not long ago, probably the last place, the least safe place to be in the world is in her bedroom. But she is delusional, thinks you're her husband, is trying to drag you off to the bedroom, yeah? But we don't have to even deal with any of that. All we know is yours says to bed, exit. His says, give me your hand, stay here. I think that's just a great moment of where the script and the actors' agendas sort of coincide in a really interesting way. We can go on from right after you exit, unless you want to do the exit again and try to yank him off the stage.
To bed.
Will she now go to bed?
Directly.
Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles.
And we've never talked specifically about this thing. You were probably just about to do it. But I realize I haven't introduced this idea. Whenever you have more than 4 lines as an actor, I think of it as, well, I got this from the woman I first did Unrehearsed Shakespeare with, flying the plane. You have more than 4 lines of your speech, then the rules all still apply. But in order not to bore the audience by only talking here, you can go anywhere on the stage you want for the duration of that speech. If I'm supposed to be with somebody, then I just take that person with me as I go, yeah? But I can work the space and definitely consider, for any of those longer speeches, if there's an option to talk to the audience, it's always a good idea. I think that's what you were just about to do when I stopped you. Sorry, I just realized I never talked about the 4-line rule.
That's the way he blocked me a long time ago. Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds through their death pillows will discard their secrets. More needs she the divine than the physician. God forgive us all.
And I'm going to stop there just for a really cool thing. So if he incorporates the audience there, and it's weird here because, of course, we have the kind of lighting that Shakespeare didn't have, yes, that illuminates certain parts of the space and not others. If we're doing this, I really like doing this outside or in found spaces. It's really interesting. And then you can move not only toward the audience, but among the audience. And then the God forgive us all is sort of like the guests at the wedding. It can be the audience, right? God forgive us all. Audiences, that's another thing they really like about this, is when the actors come out and interact directly with them, talk to them, or like in a case like that, include them. I read somewhere that when this play was actually first performed in Elizabethan England, some people didn't want to go because they heard that the characters tried to summon spirits into the theater, and it was a superstitious enough time that they thought it might actually happen, because their relationship to both gods and demons was more palpable. So also, like in this case, saying God forgive us all isn't an expression. It's not OMG, it's a God who is present and listening, right? So to say to him from here, God forgive all of us. We are all sinners. Everybody in the audience is like, I don't want to turn out like her. Yeah, it implicates the audience in a whole different way. Anyway, go ahead.
God forgive us all. Look after her. Remove from her the means of all annoyance and still keep eyes upon her. So good night. My mind she has made it and amazed my sight. I think, but dare not speak.
Good night, good doctor.
Yeah. So the cross to the person rule is the big new thing here. You nailed a lot of those crossing to the person things. They feel counterintuitive, some of them in the moment. And there are places, at least here, there's a real payoff for them. In some of the plays, it's hard to tell like what's the payoff supposed to be here, but it's still a rule that tends to work because it helps keep things from getting really static and just staying in one spot on stage, which anybody here who's seen very much Shakespeare has probably seen productions where everyone sort of stands around like this and talks, which, I don't know. Maybe that's some people's Shakespearean cup of tea. It's not really mine. Other questions on this? All right, let's be done with this one. Thank you.
Best sleepwalker ever.
Oh, thank you.
This, that, these, those, here, there, we, us, and our, forms of you, forms of thee, action to the word, throw stage directions when you have them, listen for stage directions when people are throwing them, cross to the person who gave you your cue if you don't say anyone else's name. That's pretty much the stuff. We've got a few more opportunities to put them into action if you want to do some more. I don't know, what do you expect in terms of time? We good for a little more? Would it be fun to play some more? That's really the question. Okay, okay. I've got some more. I can't resist. Yeah, let's do something a tiny bit different. I just have some kind of fun action to the wordy things here if somebody would like to volunteer to do that. And then I have some that's just interesting in terms of sound because it's fun. Anybody interested in one or the other of these? Which one do you want? I see you're coming. And for now, just pick any one of them.
Wait, so you're adding action to like a certain world? Or, I mean, word?
Anything actable, act it. Here's what I try to think. Like, when these plays, I know I said I don't know that Shakespeare did it this way, and I hold to that. But it's sometimes helpful to think in terms of, like with The Blush, that these were written to be done in a very big theater, right? So the theater was in a part of town where there were bear baitings outside and prostitutes hung out, and people were selling things, including their bodies, on the street. If people sat in the back rows of the theater, they could probably hear that as well as they could hear what was going on the stage. There are people sitting next to them who brought their baby to the theater or who have a case of consumption and are coughing. There's lots to interfere with being able to hear what's going on. So the more action to the word supports the language, the clearer it is what people are saying. So people aren't saying, did he just say dog or frog or fog? Yeah?
So enunciate and like, I guess like,
It's really more
italics-
action to the word.
Italics, like if you have italics. Sort of?
Yes.
Okay, just
but
making sure.
more what I've got in mind is more like, I am the dog.
Oh,
No,
okay,
the dog,
I get it now.
right?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And,
Yeah.
and am I reading all of these parts?
Yeah, pick one.
Pick one, okay.
And you can do a second one if you want.
And does it go along with?
Nope. We'll do one of you and then the other.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Okay. Let's see. Do Angela. Nay, come, I pray you, sir, give me the chain. Both wind and tide stays for this gentleman, and I, to blame, have held him here too long.
Yeah, good. Cool. Now, the other thing about this one in particular is, and this is a real pet thing of mine that I don't know, I never learned this from anybody. This is something that I got obsessed with in Shakespeare. You have this whole long section of that speech that all your words have only one syllable in them.
Nay, come, I pray, okay.
Yeah, and I think it's actually even more to the part at the end, isn't it? Oh no, it's all of it. There's only, in this whole thing, there's only one word that has more than one syllable in it.
Gentleman.
And I'm kind of obsessed with that idea, like why would that be? If we went out right now and we stopped somebody on the street in Huntington, we asked them if they like Shakespeare, and if they said no, and we asked why, they would say he uses too many big words or something like that. Well, so here there are, what must that be, 28 words. 27 of those words have one syllable. So it's not about the big words. Only when he wants it to be about the big words is it about the big words. Sometimes he wants it to be about the little words. Why does he want this to be about the little words? Why? Well, I open it to discussion in the room. When do you deliberately use little words?
You can't be heard.
Okay? What are other
Speaking to
options?
a child.
Well, all of those are one syllable, then you have the one, so maybe it's to give the attention to that word.
Yes, definitely true, I
The
think.
person that you're talking to is an idiot.
Yeah, child, idiot, right? There's, yeah, yeah. Because, I mean, everybody in here, if you really wanted to annoy someone, you could say to them who wasn't understanding you, you disagree about something, you could say, okay, I'll try again. And this time, I will use small words. Yeah? That's kind of speak to an idiot kind of thing. Is that what's going on? I don't know what it is, but what I do know is that this pattern comes up again and again and again in the plays, where there'll be this long, long string of one-syllable words.
Interesting.
So, I don't know, try something
Okay.
for fun?
Nay, come, I pray you, sir, give me the chain. Both wind and tide stays for this gentleman, and I, to blame, have held him too long here. Or here too long.
Yeah, and speaking of the gentleman thing again, now what I thought of that time, and so it might inspire me as an actor, is the tone completely changes, right, when you suddenly have a three-syllable word, and when you're speaking to somebody that you respect, right? The other person you're saying, give me the chain, I am waiting for the chain, I have made this gentleman wait for the chain, you stupid idiot. You know what I mean? Because it just seems so, I don't know, obsequious that way or something. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Want to do another one? You can look at another one while she does hers if you want.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. May I have permission? I'm not gonna touch you, but like I will like,
Darn.
go up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, like you don't have to react or anything.
Okay. Okay. I cannot nor I will not hold me still. My tongue, though my heart, shall have his will. He is deformed, crooked, old and sere, ill-faced, worse-bodied, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical in making, worse in mind.
Yeah.
Not to react, so I
Yeah.
don't-
You don't
And-
have to if you don't want to.
Oh,
And the more specific you can be with the variety of what all those things mean, the better, right? You definitely did things on them, right? Which is good.
I had different stuff in mind, but nothing came out right.
Oh, well, maybe you can do it again then. What a good idea. I'm so glad you suggested it. No, really.
Do it again. Okay.
And you can definitely use marry, but you don't have to. If it gives you more to work with to not use her, what you really want everyone here to understand is how you feel about this man who is what? Tell us about him.
Okay.
I cannot nor I will not hold me still. My tongue, though my heart, shall have his will. He's deformed, crooked, old and sere.
Yeah, keep going, keep it going.
Ill-faced, worse-bodied, shapeless everywhere.
Yeah. Awesome. Can we do it again? We can even just do that section, because you're right on, right? And it's going to make us know how very unattractive this individual is, right? He's, what's the first one? Deformed? Yeah, he's deformed. So get deformed and crooked, and you did that, right? And just like the witches, once you've got one, try to stay there and just build it on it.
I cannot nor I will not hold me still. My tongue, though my heart, shall have his will. He's deformed, crooked, old and sere, ill-faced, worse-bodied, shapeless everywhere, vicious, ungentle, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical, worse in mind.
I don't know how to add some actions to those words.
But this is why it's handy that the actors have the script for a month before, right? Because this is the kind of thing, and in the text session, one of the things I find myself saying often, like if we got to this speech, I would say, so this speech is going to be really hard. This is impossible to cold read, and you can't think of enough things in the moment. This is a speech. There could be some speeches that you don't need to work on very hard. I used to study classical piano, and like when you do that and you're trying to memorize music, you realize very quickly, oh, this section or these measures, I mean, some measures are 2 chords, and other measures are very, very complicated, right? Which ones do you work more on? You can't give equal time to all of that. This is the same way, right? In this case, you come to this speech and you're like, whoa, I will die on stage in front of people if I don't rehearse this, right? And other parts, nothing to them, yeah? By the way, I think at the beginning of your speech, there might be a bunch of single syllable words.
Oh, okay.
Is that
I
true?
thought you were about to say there's going to be like a the, a there. Like, wait.
No, but aren't there a bunch of single syllables?
No, I will not. Yeah. Wait.
Yes,
Yeah.
and all the way through that, through the end of this,
Okay.
and then you get into deformed and other things like that, right? But this could be, the one that makes me, what that makes me think of is like, my tongue, if not my heart, will have his will.
Okay.
Or something, yes? Again, bunch of monosyllables. Why is that?
I cannot nor I will not hold me still. My tongue, though my heart, shall have his will.
Gross us out.
He is deformed, crooked, old and sere, ill-faced, worse-bodied.
What does ill-faced mean? Ugly face? Yeah, make us a really ugly face. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
That's great.
Ill-faced, worse-bodied, shapeless everywhere, vicious, ungentle, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical in making, and worse in mind.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, and again, that's, I think, without taking this away and doing homework on it, that's probably what you're going to get, right? Because some of it, you realize in the middle, like Shakespeare knew more words about being disgusting looking than you have physicalities to give it without practice. Cool. Great. Thank you. Mary, you have another?
Yeah. I
Do you
don't
want me to
understand. It says sounds
Sure.
and syllables. Am I concentrating on pronunciation, or is that what I'm?
Yeah, it's either poetic sounds or a bunch of single syllable words are pretty much what the theme is on that page.
And even for that do I love you the more. I am your spaniel, and Demetrius, the more you beat me, I will fawn on you. Use me but as your spaniel. Spurn me, strike me, neglect me, lose me, only give me leave, unworthy as I am, to follow.
Okay, so here's why this one is in here. Do you mind that I'm doing something for me? I forgot this was on here. Is that going to interfere with anything?
That's her.
That's her right
That's
there.
mine. I'm playing that role in the show.
She'll be
Okay.
fine.
Okay. The reason that I have this here is because once you get to the more you beat me, I will fawn on you, it really sort of starts with fawn. Yeah. Everything after that, really, you asked about, is it about enunciation?
Yes.
Really over enunciate just because, and don't watch the totality of Mary, watch her mouth.
Could you just repeat all that you said? Right.
Just over enunciate it.
Overnunciate.
Really fully pronounce each word. That's what it is, I guess.
Okay. And even for that do I love you the more. I am your spaniel, and Demetrius, the more you beat me, I will fawn on you.
And especially now.
Use me but as your spaniel. Spurn me, strike me, neglect me, lose me, only give me leave, unworthy as I am, to follow you.
Okay, so my point is, spurn me, strike me, neglect me, lose me, in particular, but a lot of the rest of this also, is those are all very activated lips and tongue sounds
Okay.
that I think have a lot to do with, well, it's what this character is doing. She's in the woods alone with this guy, you know the whole story, right? And she's really coming on to him. She comes on to him, and her mouth goes, spurn me, strike me, neglect me, lose me. Only give me leave, unworthy as I am. Everything you say through there is all kissy face.
I never saw that coming.
Do you want to do it again, or do you want to go on to something else?
Let's go on.
Okay. Do you have another one you want to do? Or we can move on from these and do another scene.
You can move on.
Okay, all right. Great, thank you. Round of applause. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure whether we can do the Romeo and Juliet one because I don't know whether we have enough people, but we can do this one for sure. 4 people. Who wants a lot of action to the word gets this.
No.
Oh, it's fun like candy.
Go ahead, Olivia.
Oh, my dad's coming back.
So, this is very much about cross to the person who gave you your cue. That's going to be really important. The other thing that's super important is you are going to think that there is a mistake in your script. Assume that there is not a mistake in your script. Somebody, yes, you will need to talk to 2 specific people, right? To refer to them, so I'll tell you who they are. This is the shepherd.
Okay.
And this is the youth.
Okay.
And like I say, there's not a mistake in your cue script. At least I hope not, because I just said there wasn't. But I don't think there is.
Good shepherd, tell this youth
What 'tis to love.
It is to be made. It is to be all made of sighs and tears. And so am I for Phoebe.
and I for
Ganymede.
Ganymede.
Ah, does it? Yeah. I thought that might happen because you guys know the play. Just cross to your cue giver.
Her.
Yep.
Okay. And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
Cross to your cue giver.
And I for no woman.
It is to be made. It is to be all made of faith and service.
And cross to your cue giver.
And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame me to love you?
Yes, this always happens.
Why?
Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay, people.
It's very confusing cue script,
Shepherd?
but ultimately we'll get it. Shoot, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, yeah. And you can action to the word it like there's no tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, so Shepherd. Ganymede?
Nope.
You're Phoebe.
Nope.
He's the youth,
You're the youth.
and Olivia's the shepherd.
Okay. Do we know who Ganymede and Phoebe are?
Yes, but it doesn't actually matter, and you might not in the show. You'd
Okay.
probably have figured it out
So-
by now, but yeah, the important thing is cross to your cue giver. This is actually the thing, and this happens in performance sometimes too. People get a moment like this. It's hard to differentiate in your brain the difference between talking to someone and talking about them. If your line was, Ganymede, I love you, that's one thing. But if you're talking about Ganymede, and I am in love with Ganymede, then it's cross to your cue giver. Does that make sense? That's why there's so much cue giver crossing in this.
Good Shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be made all of size.
You know what, before we get going, this youth, so you would actually want to be touching the youth,
Okay.
who coincidentally happens to be, since you were asking, the person that you are talking about. But this time, because you're not crossing to a cue giver, right, you're saying, Good Shepherd, tell this youth what it is to love.
Okay. Good Shepherd, tell this youth what it is to love.
It is to be made all of sighs and tears.
Good.
And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
But still go to your cue giver, sorry. It's only that one
And
time because you
so
say this youth.
am I
Yeah.
for Ganymede.
I'm your cue giver.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be made all of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes.
Still your cue giver.
All adoration, duty, and observance, all humble niece, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
We got into trouble again. Do you see what happened?
Yep.
Your cue scripts are right. We just
If
treated
this
it as
be
though.
so, why blame you me to love
Okay.
you?
There's really only one good place to start, and that's clear back to the beginning. By the way, yes, so he's your cue giver,
Yes.
right? But then you have finally, at the last time, you have a speech that's more than 4 lines long, which means that time that you can say, it is to be, how's it start, the long one? It is to be made of fantasy. It is all to be made of fantasy. All of that. Then, because you have 4 lines, you're free to work the space. You can go wherever you want. You can tell the audience what it's like and do your action to the word right in their faces.
Okay. Good Shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
Is to... Are there two eye for no women's?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's her first one.
It is to be made all of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance.
Action to the word as much as you can. Passion, wishes, observance.
Observance. All humbleness, all patience, and impatience. All purity, all trial, and observance. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
Cross.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Why do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Pray you no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon.
Okay, we're so close. Two points I want to make real quick. This sort of goes back to like the shoe monologue in the beginning, soul, right? Getting that pun. The more we can help with those kind of puns is always great. Hear, her, to her that is not here and doth not hear, the more we can get on that. And it's very hard because it's counterintuitive. We all get told not to do it, to cross in front of people, which is part of what's hanging us up. And on the last one, where you've now figured out that you all speak simultaneously, you've got the simultaneous speech, but he's the cue giver for everyone. So what winds up happening is that everybody crosses in a big bunch.
That's the Irish house.
And it's not because, yes, and it's not because everybody's actually talking to him, but if everybody crosses there, our minds can fill in that you are actually intending to cross to him, but you are actually, who are you? You are actually intending to cross to her, and you know what I mean? Because you're all crossing in a clump, so it all works. But cue giver is there. Will you do it one more time to try to nail that part?
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be made of sighs and tears.
Yes.
And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be made of faith and service. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be made all of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I to no woman.
If this be so, I blame you to love you.
Why do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Pray you no more of this. It's like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon.
Yeah, okay, good. Let's give him a round of applause. This seems really hard. There's some,
Bill, that was very smooth.
That was
my students, when I did a lot of this, when I had the grant and was doing this every year, my students grew to know that when I said the cue scripts are correct, it meant trouble. Because what it usually meant was people are going to be talking over each other. There are some sections, and see, with this, sometimes it's really clear in the scripts, but more often you kind of have to figure it out. I could get into some of the details about how I try to figure it out, but probably not important right now. But there are places that I think in Julius Caesar where I'm sure it was intended as overlap. Romeo and Juliet, but a lot of people I'm far from the only person who has observed this. There's like when they discovered Juliet's dead body is a place where there's not much poetry. There's just a bunch of people saying, kind of repeating the same phrases over and over again. So to sit through everybody doing that individually is different from everyone carrying on all at one time. There's a lot of overlap in Romeo and Juliet. I know some in Julius Caesar. I know some in Hamlet. It's really interesting. So, other comments, thoughts, and yeah.
When you have a monologue-y show and a character doesn't have anybody on stage to talk to, is it only the audience? Like, what
yeah,
with speaking, like you're doing to be or not to be to these people?
Yep. That's how we always treat it in Unrehearsed. Yeah, that they are the people you can talk to. And to be or not to be is a really interesting case too, because I'm a little rusty on this, but the first monologue that Hamlet has, he only talks about stuff. And the second monologue he has, he asks direct questions to the audience. And the third monologue is to be or not to be, I think, and he starts using we and us during that monologue. So if you do it in strict unrehearsed terms, the first one is just sort of from here. And the second one is, what about this? What about this? Who calls me villain? Who calls me villain? Breaks my pate across. Who gives me the line, the throat is deepest of the lungs? Who does me this? Right? Demanding something from the audience. And the third one, it's, then fly, Dwent and sweat under a weary life, blah, blah, I forget. Threat of something after death. The undiscovered country from which no traveler returns puzzles the will and makes us rather fly to those, bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Starts getting into we and us and our. So it seems to me there's this progression from him not including the audience to challenging the audience to bonding with the audience. If you just follow the unrehearsed rules, that's the way it plays out. What else? What ceremony else? Are we done? Trying to read the room? Yeah?
Let's hear it for Bill Kincaid, everybody.
Thank you, this was really fun.
Thank you, Bill, for doing this. We truly appreciate it. We loved having you back here again. We loved it the first time you were here, and we want you back as often as you can come. My name, again, is Mike Murdoch, the Artistic Director of Alchemy Theater. This has been the Springfest for West Virginia Shakespeare Festival here at Alchemy Theater. Thank you all for participating and being a part of it. Thank you to the West Virginia Humanities Council for helping make it all happen. And we have, before you get out of here, we have some little things that people need to fill out before we take off. But once again, let's hear it from Mr. Kincaid.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.